Hey guys, welcome back into the channel. No Cubs game today, so there will be no review. So I decided, with the playoffs only, a little under 2 months away, I need to talk about the Cubs on a day in and day out basis. And with no review today, I decided this was a good time to do a video that I had been wanting to do now for a week or so. And it's a topic I'm sure a lot of Cub fans have on their mind. And that's with the Cubs seemingly, with a 3.5 game lead, seemingly looking like they're going to have home field up until the World Series throughout the playoffs in the National League. A lot of people are probably asking themselves, who's the biggest threat to the Cubs? Who is which team poses the biggest threat to keeping the Cubs from reaching the World Series? And I've narrowed it down to two teams. And for me, it's the obvious two teams. It's the second and third best team in the National League behind the Cubs. The Washington Nationals and the San Francisco Giants. Now you got, who else? You got the Pirates. They're seemingly, they traded some pieces away at the deadline. They're seeming to fall away from contention, so get rid of them. Get the Marlins, despite the sweep. That just reaffirmed what I had already thought. I don't take them as a real threat to the Cubs come postseason, at least not compared to some of these other teams. So take them away. The Cardinals, I just don't see the ace, the big pitching, the big pitcher that would dominate us in a series. So they're the Cardinals, but the whole being scared of the Cardinals thing ended last year for me. So the Cardinals are out. The Dodgers, especially without Kershaw, right now they don't scare me. And I just envision them falling off here at some point. That's just my opinion. So they don't scare me. And that leaves you with the Mets too. The Mets right now, they obviously scare me because of last year and the pitching they have. But you lose Harvey. Sorry about these damn cars, man. This road is still paved and it's ridiculously loud every time a car goes down the road. I can't believe how loud this is. Probably can hear it in the background. But, so the Mets right now, with the great pitching they have, that's all fine and dandy, but the fact of the matter is, their offense doesn't scare me, and right now, for a while now, they haven't even been a team that's in the playoffs, they're right there, game and a half, they've been that way for a while, but, I'm not going to put them as my, the team I'm most scared of, because I think that's disrespectful to Washington, San Francisco, when New York hasn't even been in the playoff picture for a couple months. They've been on the outside looking in for a while, and I'm just going to assume they don't get in. Even if they do, though, Washington and San Francisco are the biggest threats, in my opinion. Now, for me, I got some stats, some facts to back up my opinion. And for me, the team that poses the biggest threat to the Chicago Cubs, it's easy. It's as plain as day. It's the San Francisco Giants. Now, you may be asking yourself, why? Washington's the 2 seed. So they have the better record. They've won. They've just won a series against San Francisco. But in my opinion, Washington is not as dangerous, and that's because of the numbers I have right here in front of me. Well, we all know come postseason, what's the most important thing? Big time starting pitching, elite starting pitching, and the Cubs, you got Arrieta, Lester, and Hendricks, my boy. But when you look at the Giants, you got Madison Bumgarner, you got Johnny Cueto. When you look at the Nationals, you got Max Scherzer, you got Steven Strasburg. Those 4 pitchers, honestly, the national pitchers are probably more well known throughout the nation. A guy like Strasburg, everybody knows who he is. Scherzer's just had the 20 strikeout game this year. He's a well known guy. The name recognition carries a lot with those two, in my opinion. They're both great pitchers. They're all 4 great pitchers. That's why they're top rotation starters on good teams. But when you look at the Cubs, specifically the Cubs hitters, the lineup they'll put out there in the postseason against these pitchers, well, here's some numbers for you. Against Madison Bumgarner, Javi Baez has faced him 5 times. He's 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. So he struck out nearly every at-bat. Chris Bryant against Madison Bumgarner. He's 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. Dexter Fowler faced him a ton throughout his career. He's 8 for 35. That's down in the 200s. Hayward, 3 for 15, does have a home run off him. Again, down in the 200s. Rizzo, 3 for 16, down in the 200s. Russell, 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. And they got, with those 6 guys, it's just horrible numbers. Look at Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, and Addison Russell. They are 0 for 15 with 11 Ks off of Madison Bumgarner. That's alarming. And you got one guy who kind of skews the numbers the opposite direction, and that's Ben Zobrist, who's 6 for 9 off him in his career. So we got one guy that has had success off him. Then you got Johnny Cueto. Baez, 0 for 6, 4 strikeouts. Dexter Fowler, 3 for 13. Say, that's okay. That's 280s or whatever. 270s, but he got 7 strikeouts. So he struck out in over half of the bats he's faced him in. And Rizzo, 2 for 22. Hayward, 3 for 13. I mean, again, that's just a lot of bad numbers off this guy. And then you got a guy who, with a small sample size, but Brian is 2 for 3 off him. That's an extremely small sample size, but I'm not going to just give you all the bad numbers. Even though it's a small sample size, I'll give you that he has in 3 at-bats. Had some good at-bats off of Cueto, I guess, in 3 chances. But I'll throw that in there just to make me not feel so, intimidated by these pitchers. But then you go on to the Nationals' top 2. You got Steven Strasburg. In his Jason Hayward in his career, he's faced Steven Strasburg 37 times, so you've seen him a ton. He's 15 for 37. I mean, that's really damn good numbers. Now, some may be saying, that Hayward is not the Hayward we're getting this year. Maybe that's so, but I still think he's got time to turn it around. And statistically, he's not going to have a good season no matter what, but I feel like this last month and a half, if he can get going, and if he hits in October, all will be forgotten. But, if you want him to hit in October, who better to get it started going against than a guy who he's got 15 for 37 off of in his career. You got Fowler, he's 3 for 9. You got Rizzo, 2 for 10. And you got Zobrist, who is 1 for 2. You're going to say 1 for 2? That's just this year. But he had a home run off him. So Zobrist has a home run off of Strasburg this season. Then you got off of Max Scherzer. You got Hayward, 4 for 12. You got Rizzo, 3 for 8 with a homer. You got Ben Zobrist, who is 5 for 25. That's not great. That's not good at all. But he's got 3 home runs off him. I mean, that's a lot of home runs off of Max Scherzer. And then the numbers in the opposite direction, you got Chris Bryant, 0 for 6 off of Max Scherzer with 5 strikeouts. And you got Dexter Fowler off him, 1 for 12 with 6 strikeouts. So those are your numbers against those big 4 for a lot of guys. Now, I didn't name, obviously, every hitter, but I went through and I found hitters that had somewhat of a large sample size or a bigger sample size than other guys against those pitchers, and just threw 5 to 7 names in. And I went through the 4 pitchers and the names I mentioned and got their stats all combined against these pitchers. Madison Bumgarner, the hitters I named are 20 for 90 off him with a 2.22 batting average. So 2.22 batting average. Not very good. Against Johnny Cueto, 12 for 72, a 166 batting average. Even worse. Oh, I forgot to, also Miguel Montero. It's 2 for 15 off of Johnny Cueto. That's the other guy I didn't mention. So that's what got you to the 12 for 72 for 166. Then you got Steven Strasburg, 21 for 58 with a 362 average. That's not bad at all. That's an extremely good average, It's a good average against any pitcher, let alone a guy like Steven Strasburg. And then against Max Scherzer, you got 18 for 63 with a 2.85 or 285 batting average. So against Bumgarner and Cueto, you got 222 and you got 166. Against Strasburg, you got 362 and you got Scherzer 285. So those numbers alone against our lineup show that we've hit throughout their careers, throughout the season, better against Strasburg and Scherzer. Then other reasons why I believe the Giants, other than just that, why I believe the Giants are the biggest threat. The fact of the matter is this is a team in the Giants who are proven winners. They've won 3 World Series in the last 3 even years. They won in 2010, 2012, and 2014. So history says that 2016 is a Giants year. So they're proven winners. They've won big games and they know how to do it. Not something you could say about the Cubs at this point. With the 2 pitchers I just named, they're proven big game pitchers. Madison Bumgarner, like I said, he's won 3 World Series. He's been a part of all those, and he's been a huge part in a couple of them. Then you got a guy like Johnny Cueto, who just this past year was brought to Kansas City for one reason and one reason only. That was to help them deliver a World Series championship to the city of Kansas City, and that's what he did. His postseason numbers weren't off the walls, I wouldn't say, but in the World Series he performed really well, and he's proven now that he can help deliver a ring to a city, and he did that this past year. Another thing, and any Cub fan would know this, the Cubs, especially this year, but last year as well, they handle heat better. They handle fastballs better than they do changes and off speeds and curves and stuff like that. They like the fastball. Got a guy like Strasburg. Yes, all these pitchers have good secondary pitches, but Scherzer and Strasburg rely a lot more on their fastball and a lot more on velocity than do Cueto and Bumgarner. A guy like Cueto, his number 1 pitch is that changeup. And that's a pitch that has given the Cubs problems all year, particularly a guy like a guy like Chris Bryant, although he's 2 for 3 off of Cueto in his career, he's the worst statistically, and you have to have enough at bats to qualify, but he's the worst hitter in all National League against the changeup. This year it's like a 0.70 batting average against changeups this year, so that's a little alarming. Another thing about the Giants is they got probably the second best manager in baseball after Joe Madden. Some would say the best manager in baseball ahead of Joe Madden. I don't believe that to be true, but some would say so. Bruce Bochy's, again, just like the players, he's a proven winner. And he's been in that, big spot before. Dusty Baker has, but he's done okay, I guess. But he's lost in most of the big situations he's been in. He's been in a lot of big situations, but hasn't came through in them. Particularly not like Bruce Bochy. And then you go to the 2 top starters, and you go to their combined wins. Madison Bumgarner and Johnny Cueto. They have 11 wins combined in the postseason. And then you got Scherzer and Strasburg. They got 4 wins combined in the postseason. And Strasburg has none. And he's 0-1, and he pitched okay against Washington in 2014. But the fact of the matter is he didn't win the game. These aren't proven postseason big game winning pitchers like Bumgarner and Cueto are. And the record, albeit they've played Washington all the games that they're going to play them in this year, and they've only played San Francisco in 1 series, so they still have 4 more games against them to come this year. But the Cubs are 5-2 against Washington this year, including a 4-game sweep over the Nationals in Wrigley Field earlier this year. And like I said, the Cubs look to be on a collision course to be the number 1 seed, taking on the Nationals, potentially in the postseason, and they've already proven that they can beat the Nationals in Wrigley Field. And then you got against the Giants. So they're 5-2 against the Nationals. Against the Giants, they're 1-2. They haven't played them yet at home. They have a 4-game series at the beginning of September. But they did play them 3 games in San Francisco, and they lost 2 of 3. Small sample size, but they're 5-2 against Washington, 1-2 against San Francisco, which is another number backing up what I'm saying. That San Francisco is the biggest threat to the Cubs getting to the World Series. And, I'm not sitting here saying the Nationals aren't a threat, because any one of those teams are a threat. Miami's a threat. St. Louis is a threat. LA's a threat. The Mets are a threat. All of them are going to be tough to beat. There is no team that we're going to play in the playoffs that's just going to be a cakewalk. And the first series is a best-of-5 series. So, the way that it's looking right now, San Francisco and Washington are going to meet in the first round while we're playing another team. And assuming we win, the nice thing is by getting the 1 seed, you only have to play one of these teams. You don't. Oh my God! What the fuck is that? Something just popped up on my phone, guys. But at the end of the day, they only have to beat one of these teams. It looks as if that's going to be the case. And the hope is that we're able to sweep whoever we play in the first round, and that Washington and San Francisco have a 5-game series with 4 extra inning games where they just have to use a ton of their pitching, and they just wear each other out. That's the hope. And my guess is you get San Francisco in the NLCS, and you're going to have a fight of your life going on in that series. But hopefully they won't. I would rather play Washington. I know they got Bryce Harper, but give me Washington. And also, I understand that the top 2 pitchers in the staff is not everything. But, come postseason baseball, your top couple pitchers typically is the difference maker. That's the biggest thing, in my opinion. But, all these teams are a threat, but in my opinion, the San Francisco Giants, a team that's won 3 World Series in recent memory, they're going to be a tough out, and hopefully we don't have to play them, but if we do, it's going to be a battle. But thanks for checking in, guys. I'll be back for my Cubs review tomorrow, and comment down below if you agree, comment down below if you don't agree. Thanks for checking in, though, guys. I'm out.